Okay, so to start things off here is your updated countdown to spring summer 2026. So we are just under 126 days to the start of astronomical spring. So we've come a long way. Keep in mind that this started at 178 days at the start of astronomical fall. So fall winter collectively has taken quite a bit of damage at this point, losing 53 days since this countdown began. So hang in there, folks. We will be getting closer and closer to spring as we venture forward and bring this countdown to even lower amounts of time. Okay, so here's our low pressure system in question. So just pay close attention to this broad warm front. So this is what will be responsible for the mixture of precipitation that we will see in extreme eastern Ontario to extreme southern southwest Quebec and the extreme US Northeast. So this will be a zone of icing, I think, because of the extensive period of freezing rain that will be affecting these areas. So we will watch this for later in the day, November 15th, which is Saturday, into pre-dawn November 16th, which is Sunday. Let's go directly into November 15th, and here we are November 15th. So not a whole lot going on early in the day, but you do start to see some pockets of rainfall invading southern southwest Ontario at the time. But notice how that low pressure system starts to eject farther east. You can see a broad zone of rainfall in southern to eastern Ontario, so that's represented by the green. But really look at southern Quebec. You can see these reds starting to get into around the Isle of Montreal and surrounding areas going northwest of there along this broad zone. So this is ice pellets and also known as sleet. And as we go deeper into the evening, so this is progged for roughly 7 p.m. So roughly after 7 p.m., I do expect those ice pellets or sleet to start to undergo a change into freezing rain. So as we go deeper into the evening, notice how those purple colors, those darker shades inclusively, start to reach the same regions around the island of Montreal, going east to the southern portion of the eastern townships, or generally the eastern townships, and going south into Vermont, portions of New Hampshire, upstate New York, especially in higher elevations, and going west, pretty much hugging along the Ontario border. So this broad zone could see some pretty extensive ice accretions from this freezing rain zone. So going further into pre-dawn November 16th, so now we are in the pre-dawn period, this is around 1 o'clock in the morning. You can see the freezing rain still wants to hold on a little bit longer, but going farther south, you see that rainfall narrowly able to grasp this region, especially southern portions of the Isle of Montreal, going south and southeast of there. So this could represent a change to rainfall, which will be most welcomed, and this can start to help melt away at least some of the ice buildup that does occur. And then beyond this, that freezing rain and rain does start to change into snowfall, although it isn't a great deal of snowfall, but it will add some accumulation to the ground because of the on and off nature of it throughout the pre-dawn period, right through to most of November 16th. And then hugging a little bit of November 17th. We'll have to watch out for some snow squalls on November 17th itself. So that could be another hazard to watch during the morning to afternoon period. Okay, so just quickly showing a skew Lockpey diagram for the Montreal area later November 15th. And you can actually see that profile. I mean, if you recognize the freezing rain profile, this will immediately stand out to you. So pay attention to this diagonal line mostly because this is our freezing mark. Anything along this line is the freezing mark. So you can see to the right of that, we have above freezing temperatures stretching over a pretty good lower tropospheric depth. And then near the surface over a shallow layer, you can see that the temperature is slightly below freezing. So this is for later in the evening of November 15th, when the freezing rain is especially expected to be more robust in terms of moderate rainfall rates. So we will have to watch this section. And you can also see our wind profile, warm air advection just above the boundary layer and at the upper limits of the boundary layer, whereas at the surface we have this easterly to east-northeast flow that's producing this shallow layer below freezing air. Okay, so just to get an idea of how much freezing rain we could expect at the time the ice pellets or sleet changes into freezing rain tomorrow late evening, November 15th. So here, this shows the amount of ice accretions that would take place because of the freezing rain. So you could see it pretty much hugging along the Ontario-Quebec border and extending into the US Northeast, upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and a portion of Maine as well, western Maine. So along this zone, we could generally see up to about half an inch worth of ice accumulation. That's about 13 millimeters worth. Now, for most areas farther south where the rain does interfere a bit more into the early pre-dawn, The estimates will be a bit more conservative, so I think closer to about 7 to 9 millimeters of freezing rain from start to finish, starting around 7:30 p.m. around the Montreal area, extreme East Ontario, even earlier than that in extreme East Ontario around 7. So this can go on for about 5, 6 hours before it actually subsides. So there you have it. This will be the situation for later November 15th into November 16th, and going into November 17th, especially in terms of the snow squall situation that I briefly outlined at that time. So again, we have to watch out for this very wintry weather pattern that continues to hold together in this broader domain. So again, if you absolutely have to be out during especially the evening of November 15th and into pre-dawn November 16th, exercise extreme caution because of these rapidly growing slippery surfaces caused by the freezing rain. So again, if you have to be out there, please do be careful in doing so, whether you're walking or driving, whatever it is. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for your attention, and we will see you in the next video. So I really appreciate your attention. And again, please do take care if you have to be out there.